I have a beef. You guys. I'm not gonna lie. Gonna be honest in this video. And I don't have beefs very often, but today it's Beef City. So obviously I'm a pretty positive and optimistic guy. And I'm usually not too angry or heated about many video game topics. Mostly because it actually takes a lot to get me that way. But I'm pretty upset and miffed, if you want to say. We'll use the word miffed about what's going on right now with Nintendo and the SNES Classic Edition and this pre-order situation, which I've discussed a couple of times. Even when it was first revealed that this thing was coming out, I was like, well, hey, hopefully we don't run into the same situation that we did with the NES Classic, where they were impossible to find, and people were running over each other in the streets and scalping them for $3,500 online and all these different things. But I've always kind of expected we might get there. And there's been a couple of updates to the situation and some pieces of news from Nintendo here and there the last couple of months. And today, there was more stuff happening, and it really is just exacerbating the problem in my eyes, and it's something that I just have to talk about. It's no real secret or surprise, really, what it is that I'm talking about, and it is exactly our biggest fears. So far, if we're going to be fair, our biggest fears seem like they're coming true. Because we're not even going to include the fact that 2-3 weeks ago, Walmart had pre-orders up for a week and told everyone everything was going to be fine. And then, of course, they backpedaled on all of those pre-orders. And then all these people who thought that they had SNES Classics secured through Walmart found out that, nope, JK, LOL, no SNES for you. You're going to have to continue fighting people whenever Nintendo decides to make pre-orders available. So that was its own mess a couple of weeks ago. And then like maybe about 2 weeks ago, Nintendo was like, hey, guess what? Some nebulous random made-up time near the end of August, we're going to make pre-orders available for a limited number of people. So just keep an eye out and you might be able to pre-order them at that time, which is, you know, fairly frustrating because it's like, okay, on one hand, you're like, well, you're letting us know that we can expect pre-orders, whereas we didn't even get that with the NES Classic. So this is a positive step if we're being fair, but you're saying, hey, pre-orders are going to become available. We're not telling you when. We're not telling you how many. We're not telling you where to be able to find these pre-orders. The mystery surrounding this whole situation is kind of offensive, and I think it's the absolute wrong way to go about this. And then we get to today, where apparently overnight, I don't know what coast this was, but like 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, sometime, at least over here in the States, in North America, in the States, 2 o'clock a.m., all of a sudden Best Buy had pre-orders. Official, actual, real pre-orders went live. And sure enough, even at that time, a bunch of people gobbled them up within a matter of minutes. And then all of us normal folks who live normal lives with normal schedules wake up this morning to find out, oh, look, SNES pre-orders went up on one website at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're all gone. Gee, what a shocker. Then I believe the other word is that even Target at some point throughout the day also had a pre-order page go live for, again, a hot minute, like 5 minutes before they were sold out. I swear to God, trying to find an SNES online for pre-order sounds like trying to get online to buy like Tool concert tickets. Anyone who's ever tried to buy tickets for Tool, you realize that is an impossible feat. In 3.8 seconds after tickets go on sale, they're all gone. Like 100,000 tickets for whatever venue, they're gone. You just can't do it. And it's like the same thing with the SNES pre-orders. So we're running into this situation where today there were a couple of instances, so it sounds, of official pre-orders went live on different websites, and, you know, a couple of people discover them, everyone buys them up, and then you get all these websites and these Twitter accounts mass tweeting, guess what? They're up on this website. Go, go, go. And then, of course, by the time you go, they're already gone. So here's the thing. Let me calm down a little bit and break this down. This is obviously frustrating. You can tell that I'm pretty frustrated. I don't normally get mad and heated about things, and especially about Nintendo, my favorite company. I mean, they're not perfect, and I'll call them out when I have to, but typically, I'm kind of like giving them the benefit of the doubt in a lot of situations. This is one of those things where it's hard for me to do. So this is frustrating to me for a couple of very specific reasons, and it's beyond just the fact that I myself am struggling to get one. You know, I mean, obviously that's part of it. Like, I'm a fan who wants this product, and I'm sad and upset that I have not yet been able to find this product, and I fear I will never be able to find this product. That's definitely a problem. But part of the reason this is an issue to me in my eyes is not so much the selfish perspective of I'm Rob and I want one and can't get one. It's more the fact that this is a big sign as to Nintendo's, I think, purposeful problem. I think this is absolutely a calculated decision by Nintendo, and it's because of how the NES Classic situation played out. To me, when you compare last year's NES Classic and this year's Super NES Classic, so far, again, you know, there's a couple of weeks for Nintendo to maybe iron this out, and if that happens, I'll address it at that time. But as of right now, the problem is last year was one situation, this year is the same situation, even with pre-orders, and I cannot see that as okay. Because here's the thing, for some perspective, I'll explain this to you. Last year, I also very much wanted an NES Classic, and you know what? I couldn't find one then either, just like millions and millions of people, just like I'm sure a lot of you guys out there, maybe most of you, we couldn't find them, we couldn't buy them. And it was frustrating, and it was a little upsetting, but you know what? I was never really mad about it, and I was never even that angry at Nintendo. Because to me, that was like a one-time deal. That was like a big surprise. Whether or not Nintendo was controlling the market and controlling the stock out there, who knows? Whether they were or they weren't, the whole thing felt like a surprise that caught us and maybe even Nintendo off guard. And maybe everything that they've said about it, where they didn't expect to see such high demand for that product, was true. Let's pretend that there's truth to that. So to me, it's like, wow, what a crazy, wacky, one-off situation that NES Classic was. I'm sad and upset I didn't get one, but I totally get it. It is what it is. I guess I'll move on. Fast forward to this year with the SNES Classic, the reason I am mad at the situation, and I do have beef with Nintendo over how they're handling it, is because this year, there is no excuse. There is no excuse other than for them to come out and outright say, hey, we are deciding not to make a lot of these. We are purposefully trying to make it hard for you to get. We want them to be limited. We are totally okay with people scalping them for hundreds and thousands of dollars online, which, by the way, already started today, because as soon as the headlines started going out, that Best Buy and Target and whoever else who might have even had these couple of websites that had them available had sold out in 3 minutes. That means everyone who was fortunate enough to get one or a few reserved, obviously they're going right to eBay to scalp and sell them for like crazy markup, for like probably hundreds and thousands of dollars. I haven't seen the numbers yet, but I do know it factually has been happening, and that's a problem. And Nintendo trying to pretend like this is just another product they're putting out there because they like making products to make their gamers happy, I'm not buying it this time. Like, last year was okay, but you don't get to repeat this same disaster of sales and pre-orders and disappointed fans and pretend like that's okay, and oh, we're surprised again, or we had no idea. I mean, a couple of things Nintendo has even said the last couple of months has actually made it sound like they understand that there's a high demand. They basically said, we're going to try to make a lot more than last year because obviously people are going to be very interested in this, and we're trying to let you know ahead of time. A, we will have pre-orders, and B, they should go live around this time. Those things, obviously I have some problems with them, but they do also show that Nintendo isn't completely oblivious to the demand for this thing. So, you know, I know I'm sitting here getting really angry and upset and yelling into my microphone, and I don't normally like when people do that online. I'm not a fan of watching other people do it, and I never do it myself. But this is a different situation, and I'm totally comfortable getting on here and explaining to you guys my frustration with the fact that Nintendo is doing this. And then there's a whole other problem. Let's end this video, this rant. It is a rant. I shouldn't air quote. This is a rant. Let's end this rant with this one last piece of information. ThinkGeek. Oh boy, ThinkGeek. This is a company who is currently partnered with GameStop. I don't think that one owns the other. I think that they're just partnered together. Do not quote me. I don't know the 100% details, but ThinkGeek, regardless. We all know them. They sell a bunch of nerdy stuff, t-shirts and swag and little figures and all these different things. Some of it's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, so they have some SNES classics, and they're selling their SNES classics with a bunch of worthless junk for hundreds of dollars. It's basically just another dirty, scummy, underhanded version of scalping. They're just taking a couple of products that probably cost like $3 to manufacture each, but they get to pretend like they're rare, exclusive, cool, nerdy things, and they package them with an $80 product and suddenly mark the thing up to $250 or $300. And obviously it's because they have the one thing people actually want that they can't find, the SNES Classic, and they're using that. They're holding that for ransom and just throwing in garbage that costs them nothing to lose, like 2 or 3 little dumb action figures or whatever, and they get to sell it at this markup of hundreds of dollars, and they make so much money just because we want that one product that we should have no problem purchasing. So at the end of the day, all of these things that I'm yelling and screaming and being crazy about here when it comes to this is a combination of, I think, personally, the way I see it, my opinion, is I see partly Nintendo's fault and partly scalpers and businesses like ThinkGeek's fault. because I think a company like ThinkGeek and anyone else doing that kind of sales practice, or even people online scalping, they are doing a completely horrible, manipulative, abusive tactic to try to just get more money out of people and take advantage of people's desire to have something that's hard to find in a way that's not fair and not really part of a legitimate collector's community sort of mentality. But on the same token, you can kind of say, well, if Nintendo knew how to make a product available to people the way that they should just make it available, then these companies wouldn't even be in a position to be able to take advantage in this way and to do these things. And ThinkGeek wouldn't even think about doing this, because if Super NES Classics were just everywhere and no one had trouble finding them or pre-ordering them, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on. They could sell these things for $300 and no one would even look twice at them. So I gotta end this. I mean, I just don't want to keep yelling like a maniac. It's not something I'm normally proud to do and to put on the internet, but I had to get this out. I think this was important, you guys. At the end of the day, the SNES Classic just looks awesome. I mean, it's typical Nintendo. I'm sitting here mad at Nintendo, but part of the reason I'm mad at Nintendo is because I freaking love them so much, and because I know they make the best products, and I just want their product. The SNES Classic looks incredible. I want Star Fox 2. I want a mini SNES. I want that great collection of games to play in high definition on my TV whenever I want. Since we don't know when the heck we're going to get the darn virtual console, this is a great way to keep a lot of us busy until that finally happens. And it's just a matter of the product looks great, Nintendo makes good stuff, and I feel like it's silly for this to be hard to find. This isn't like, you know, the Breath of the Wild limited edition, special edition, hard to find, limited number kind of release. This is just a SNES Classic. Like, they should just have learned from last year and said, oh wow, let's make sure we please our fans the right way and not limit this to just 2017, just 3 months and 1 year, and then say they're gone for good. Like, none of it feels good. I don't like what's happening here. And if Nintendo was more transparent about it, that would help, you guys. I mean, that's the thing. If Nintendo wasn't pretending like everything was hunky-dory and putting out commercials and pretending like, hey, this great product, don't you want it? It would be one thing, but they're doing that, and so it just stings all the more. So, that's what's up. That's how I feel about this SNES Classic pre-order problem, and it is a problem, and I'm unhappy at the scalpers and ThinkGeek and GameStop for doing the same thing, and Nintendo. I just think it all sucks. So, that's what's up. Tell me what you guys think. Hopefully you were okay putting up with a rant from me, because I know, again, I normally don't do these, but I had to get this off my chest. What do you guys think? Do you agree with my frustration? Do you see the problems? Do you think it's no big deal? Maybe you were able to secure yourself an SNES Classic? Talk about this crazy thing below. That's it for now, guys. Thanks as always for tuning in. This is Rob of Real Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.